All right. Who has the better opportunity, you think, concluding their contract? Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts? Who do you think has a better shot at closing that contract up and living through the contract? Lamar or Jalen? Lamar's contract, absolutely a great contract. Kudos to him for getting it done right. Kudos to him for getting it done right, man. Okay? Got a lot of money. Didn't get exactly what he wanted, but he got what he needed. And I think it's a hell of a contract. Who fulfills the contract, though? Who's in the best position? Here, let's look at all the dynamics surrounding this question. I would consider the Baltimore Ravens a great franchise and a great front office. Is it comparable to the Eagles? Yeah, they've done a ton of winning too. Hey, man, they've done a ton of winning. Baltimore's done a ton of winning. You can't dismiss that. Has it wobbled a little bit in the transition from Ozzie to Eric DaCosta? Yes, the new GM. Absolutely. I think they had a nice draft. I think the Odell Beckham sign, I think, is yet to be determined whether or not it's going to be a success. Guy's been injured, 3 of the last 4 years or 4 of the last 5 years. Odell Beckham has been banged up. So end of the day, we still don't know. Plus, you gave him $15 million. You probably overpaid him so you can make Lamar Jackson feel better, right? They got a pretty good organization. How about the head coach? Dude, their head coach, John Harbaugh, is better than Sirianni. And I don't think it's close. I mean, this guy is a Super Bowl winning coach, and he is an innovator. And actually, I think John Harbaugh is a better coach than his brother, Jim. I think he's a heck of a coach. I like the guy. He's better than Sirianni. So you kind of have compatible organizations. Now, I would say Steve Biscotti and Jeffrey Lurie, I think they're pretty even. I think the whole thing is pretty even here. Comes down to the player now, doesn't it? Comes down to the player now. Who do you feel more hey, if you had to win and everything was even, and you had to pick between Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts to win a game, who would you pick, Lamar or Jalen? If everything was even, teams were even, nobody with any advantage, this comes down to the quarterback, who would you pick to win the game, Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts? Man. Wow. Man. And the other part of the question, who is going to be there? And who's going to live through the contract? If you had to win a game, who would you pick? And who do you think fulfills his contract and gets the 5 years? Boy, these two, you know what? I'm going to say something to you that I thought I would never say in my life. I can't believe I'm pausing on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 2023. A year ago, I'd have laughed in your freaking faces. Jalen Hurts and his ascent to be in these conversations is unprecedented. I can't believe, and you know what? I'm probably being swayed by that to lean towards Lamar, and it's unfair to Jalen. It is, because there's a bias. There's a built-in bias against Jalen Hurts when you're talking about these elite guys. How about this? Is that at least fair? Tone says I might be called a homer, but I give the slight edge to Hurts for both questions. Hey, You think there's a bias on Jalen? When we're talking about the elite, the Burrows, the Herberts, the Trevor Lawrences, do you think there's a bias? Lamar Jackson, do you think there's a bias? I do. I think there's a built-in bias. This goes back to his college days. This goes back to his draft. And as a guy like me, I got to get over that. Because I'll say this to you. Sills, do you think Jalen Hurts improved more from his first year to his second year than Josh Allen did? Yes. Do you think he improved more than Mahomes? No. Do you think he improved more than Burrow? No. Do you think he's improved more than Herbert? Yeah, but Herbert's got to win. Herbert's got to win. Cal just asked, is Herbert elite? No. If Jalen's not, he's not. Allen makes too many mistakes to be elite. Those two guys have elite talent. So does Jalen. Okay? But if you, again, my friends, if you take the team accomplishment away of them going to the Super Bowl, you're not better than Herbert's numbers or Allen's numbers. You're not. You do it differently. By the way, this is not a rip on Jalen session. That's not what this is. I'm asking you about Lamar Jackson. I want to let's reel it back into this. Who would I take if I had to win a game, and who do I think fulfills their contract, has the best chance to fulfill their contract? Man, that is so close. And if everything is equal, damn. Jameson goes, Herbert's horrible. He's the second fastest man in NFL history to 15,000 passing yards. He's horrible. Really? You might want to check that one and reel that one back in. Dan, you don't need to say you're not ripping on Jalen if people are saying, I know, but my delivery sometimes make it sound like I'm ripping on him. And I don't, my wife says it all the time. I'm not you're right too. And thank you for reminding me of that. But you're right. Listen, I don't quantify my takes. I don't have to. And I never apologize for my takes. If they're wrong, they're wrong. I can't give you a push because that's not the answer. I'm going to quantify it by this. I think Jalen Hurts lives the contract out. You know why? I think he's a smarter football player. And not that Jalen is any smarter savant-wise or football-wise to Lamar. I just think he takes care of himself better on the field and has better field awareness than Lamar does. I think Lamar has it built into him that he's got to make every single play. Hey, would this be fair to say? Would this be fair to say about Lamar Jackson? He's got a little Carson Wentz in him, like a little hero ball. Would that be fair? I think there's a little hero ball in Josh Allen. And what I mean by hero ball, you feel you got to make every play because do you trust your teammates? You know, the one thing that Jalen Hurts does when he's out there on the field that I love compared to Lamar, I think he trusts his guys more. I think he trusts, and I think they feel that, and it resonates in the huddle. I think those guys out there feel that Jalen knows he can't get anywhere without them, whereas I think Lamar and Josh Allen and Herbert at times, I think these guys feel they got to make every freaking play for it to be a success. You think that's fair? I do. So I think Jalen has a better chance of running through the tape because I'll tell you what, is this not true? If Lamar Jackson gets hurt again, I think there's a chance in a couple years Baltimore could cut him. Because eventually you've got to start doing this, just like they did in San Francisco. You can't rely on a guy you can't have out there on the field for 17 ball games, and you can't build a game plan around somebody who's always hurt. I mean, there is a maturity about Jalen Hurts' ball game compared to Lamar and Josh Allen. Is that fair? So at the end of the day, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I cannot believe I'm going to say this. If you're telling me, Sills, who do you pick between Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts to win a game? A guy who's won an MVP unanimously, who's more accomplished. I can't believe it's Hurts. I would never have said this last year. Never in a million years. Never in a million years would I have said this. I would never have said this. But then again, guys, don't you think the owner of the Eagles and the general manager are doing the same thing I'm doing? If you told me, don't you agree with this, guys? If you told Howie Roseman May 5th, 2022, that you would be giving Jalen Hurts a $255 million contract when you just made a trade to get 2-1 so you can get into the draft, not to take a defensive tackle, but to take another quarterback, I guarantee you, the entire organization must be doing the same thing I'm doing. Unreal. Unreal. It's absolutely unbelievable in what he's accomplished. Unbelievable. And by the way, I love Lamar Jackson's game. I can't tell you how many times Xander and I were doing shows and we were watching him play. On a Monday, we would come back on a Monday and we would go like this. I want me one of those. Well, guess what? The Eagles do have one of those now.